If you hadn't heard about Anchor, it's the easiest way to make a podcast. Let me explain. It's free. There's creation tools that allow you to record and edit your podcast right from your phone or computer. Anchor will distribute your podcast for you so it can be heard on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and many more. You can make money from your podcast with no minimum listenership. It's everything you need to make a podcast in one place. Download the free Anchor app or go to anchor.fm to get started. All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the third and final part of We Voting.
All right, but the point I was making about Black Wall Street was the fact that in that community, Black families strive, they own their own businesses. And I'm just going to read a little bit about the actual facts that were going on in that community. This modern, majestic, sophisticated, and unapologetic Black community boasted of banks, hotels, cafes, clothers, movie theaters, and contemporary homes. Not to mention luxurious such as indoor plumbing, and a remarkable school system that's superiorly educated Black children. Undoubtedly, less fortunate white neighbors resented their upper class lifestyle as a result of a jealous desire to put progressive high achieving African Americans in their place. A wave of domestic white terrorism caused Black depression. The point that I'm making is in this Black community, Black Wall Street, that was a self-sufficient community owned and ran by Black people. So are you telling me that the indigenous people back in that time era are superior to the ones that are in this area or this era? That just doesn't make any sense to me. So when I hear people say, it can't be done by Blacks nowadays, I think that's complete and total cop-out. I think that's bullshit.
I'll say it like this. Things in America have changed drastically since then. So Black Wall Street and other cities around a country around that time period, the government was not as, for lack of a better term, it wasn't as stable as it is now. It wasn't functioning as it is now. Whereas now, all states are what they are. Local, state governments are what they are now. So in those times, it was easy for Blacks to have a Black-owned, Black-ran city that didn't have to worry about, okay, well, the county's going to say this, the state going to say that, and the federal government going to say that, because they were established on their own, and the colonizers was established on their own. Now, with and then you have to keep in mind, they were still on that whole. They was coming off the 13 colony setup. So you had young America that was not really established all the way across. So that can't be done now. It literally can't be done
now. My point of view is I still think, and this is just me again, standing on my rock by myself, I think it can be done. But I think that nowadays the motivation to establish something like that is damn near impossible to reach, because people, they, for lack of a better term here, they still got that slave mentality that, I got to ask permission to do what it is I have to do. And that goes back to what I'm saying about voting, in a sense of you're asking somebody to be your damn leader. You're asking somebody to, in a sense, vote the way I want you to vote, or the way community wants you to vote. And to me, I think that's a bunch of bullshit, right? Excuse me. I think, I think that's a bunch of BS right there. You know what I'm saying? Again, I feel like voting nowadays is a waste of our time. We're done uh, asking, we're done pleading. You know what I'm saying? And I'm not saying that this is a call to damn uh, resort to violence. No, I'm not saying that at all. I'm just saying that it's time we did our own thing because it has been done in the past. And for us to sit up here and have the mindset of saying we can't do it today, I just think that's ridiculous. It can be done. It just the lack of will is there.
I take what you're saying and I hear what you're saying, but here's the thing. In order for us to be self-sufficient in the manner that you're speaking, it cannot be done the way it was back then. What has to happen, in my opinion, what has to happen is blacks, Hispanics, and whoever else are minorities in this country. Look at how the Asians are doing it. Look at how the Italians are doing it. Look at how the Hispanics are doing it. If you look at how they're doing it, it can be done because they have their communities, they have their neighborhoods, and they're pretty much self-sufficient. What you are looking at is kind of like on a Black Revolution scale, whereas, you know what, we're not going to take this from you, blah, blah, blah. We're going to set up this, blah, 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 and we're going to be self-sufficient inside of this, and we're not going to need you. If I'm understanding what you're saying, it's not going to happen like that because of the way that the country is set up and has progressed from then. Now, if back then we were allowed to flourish the way that we were building back then, it would be totally different now. But because they had this mass jealousy and this mass hate for minorities, this, that, and the other, that caused them to put everything in place, and that pretty much um, keeps any group, minority group, from building up like that. That's just like saying, let's just say Southern states had this mentality of, we don't want to do what the North is doing. We want to go back to what we were doing back Civil War times. It's not going to happen. It's just not going to happen because the way the laws and everything is set up now. Now, when jumping back to voting, and you're saying, well, we're tired of asking for this, we're tired of asking for that. Again, we're under this United States government to where it's set up to where you can't say, well, I'm tired of this, I'm tired of that. My vote, it don't count. My vote, I gotta act. At the end of the day, unless you have a sizable amount of militia or whatever the case you want to be, and you overthrow the United States government and you tear it down, and now we're running around like people are in The Walking Dead, it's not going to happen. So that's why I feel like voting is important, because if we collectively vote, collectively make our voices heard, and we put the proper people in place, we can get more done. That's just like the census. A lot of people be like, oh, I'm not doing that. I'm not doing that. Okay, well, let's look at Black communities, for example. A lot of Black communities be like, oh man, I ain't doing that because it don't matter. It don't blah, blah, blah. Okay, well, if you look at a white neighborhood where all of them do the census and all of these federal funds and all of this goes to their community, and then you have Black communities be like, oh, well, they ain't looking out for us. I was like, well, what did you do to make your voice heard? Because if you're not making your voice heard um, by participating in the rights that are granted to you as a United States citizen, how are you mad because nothing is coming here? And at the same time, it has to come from within. If Black people in the Black community are not doing what they need to do to build their community, how are you complaining about what's going on out there, and my voice is not heard, my vote don't count? Again, it takes 100% participation for anything to get done.
I, I understand where you're coming from, but you said it yourself. You said that Puerto Ricans are doing it, or Hispanics are doing it, Asians are doing it, Italians are doing it, Koreans are doing it, so on and so forth. They're doing it, and they're still doing it under this United States banister, right? So you mean to tell me that we, as much as we've gone through as a group of people, we can't do that when we've done it before? And I'm not saying again that we have to tear down the whole United States system, because I agree with you. That's not going to happen. That's going to take something damn near out of this world to make that happen. But my point being is, if these group of people can do it, we can do it. And I'm not saying that we don't have to do business with these group of people, because they do businesses with us, because they do realize that the indigenous money is still green, right?
Right.
So I mean, like, if you look at where I'm from, there's in the lower parts of town, where mostly indigenous people are, you find all kind of Indian stores, uh, Asian stores, so on and so forth. So my thing is, why in the hell are you setting up camp in our communities, but not setting them up in your own damn communities?
Because you have to
You
go
you know
back
what
to
I'm
this.
saying? So it's
Yeah,
going
I
back
get
to
what you're saying.
the money.
I get what
So
you're saying,
instead
but
of
here's
us letting them have these stores, why don't we buy those damn stores? And again, become self-sufficient in the fact of, let's do business with us, not only with them, but let's build up each other. And again, I'm not saying that once we form these black communities that no one else is allowed in there, because yes, we'll do business with you. Yes, you are more than welcome to live here if you want, but please don't get it twisted. At the end of the day, this is about us. Because if you go into a Chinese community, you're gonna look around, and that's exactly what you're gonna see. You're gonna see that Chinese community backing Chinese business owners, backing Chinese families. And the most biggest thing about that is they speak in their own damn language, right? They speak in their own language. Our language was robbed from us. It was
right.
taken from, it was, I'll just say it was taken from us. But anyway,
But we can't cry over spilled milk. We can't cry over
no, we
that.
can't. No,
And
and
but
I
here's the
think
other thing. Here's the other thing about what you're saying though, because I
right.
do agree with you. But the problem is a lot of those other groups are voting. They're voting. They're sticking together. So their basic fundamentals of doing things is they want to be a part of the system so that they have a voice in the system. If you have to look at all the people that come from Mexico and all the other South American countries, they come here and they want to vote. They want to be heard. They want to be a part. So it's a lot easier for them to do that because they have that they have the mentality of, as an immigrant, you have to come in and do these certain things to solidify your position in this country. And when you solidify your position in this country, you also build collectively as a group. That's the one thing that they have that we don't have. Be it that it may, whether it was stripped from us hundreds of years ago or whatever the case may be, our culture does not have that mentality of, okay, let's do this together. Let's get our votes in. Let's encourage all of us to vote. Let's encourage everybody to do these things. That way, they can't sit there and be like, oh, you want this, but you ain't voted for it. Oh, you want this, but hell, y'all can't even y'all can't even stop killing each other. And that's just focusing on us. And we can say all day, oh, well, they did this to us, they did that to us, and they did, okay, we've been saying that for the past, I don't know how many years. We can just go with the last 20 years. At what point is the Black community going to say, enough is enough, let's get our stuff together, let's start voting, let's start doing this, let's be a part of this so that it can be something that's for us, instead of us sitting back and being like, oh man, this ain't built for me, this ain't built for us. Because I guarantee you, when Martin Luther King Jr. was doing all that he was doing, he wasn't sitting there saying, oh, this ain't for us, this ain't for us. He made a movement and said, hey, we want to be a part of this, we deserve to be a part of this, you're going to hear us and you're going to make us a part of it. That's how we got to where we are now. And a lot of people are regressing because they have this mentality of, oh, it ain't for me. Okay, so what do you expect to change? It takes one person to change the mind of another person and keep changing the mind of other people. That way, we're all going in the same direction, because at this point, we're all scattered. Period.
But that's the thing, like when you're talking about census, right? Saying that other communities, they fill out the census reports, they send them in. I think that goes back to, again, is we are up here trying to be a part of a system that don't even want us to be a part of it. I mean, take for example, how many times have we heard about us being blocked from the goddamn polls? You don't ever hear about anybody else being blocked from the polls. You don't hear about Hispanics, you don't hear about Chinese, you don't hear about Italian. You don't hear about none of them being blocked from the polls. So
that's
again,
because
that
we are the target of we are their target. And because we're their target, but again,
it don't make any sense for us to be a part of something when they don't want us to be a part of it.
So what do? Just say we're not going to be a part of it. Just
start our own.
Okay, but again, I hear you. If we start our own, we still have to be a part of the system. How are you going to go and open your business without going to the county, the city, county, state, and federal government, without following the guidelines that you have to follow in order to build up your business to support our people? Not that you're asking for anything. You're not saying, hey, can you give me this? Can you give me this? I deserve this. No. Hey, I want to open up a business for Black people. Okay, I need to go to the city. I need to go to the county. I need to go to the state. And for certain things, I got to go to the federal government. I have to do all of these things in order to build my community. You can't just go say, hey, I'm going to throw up this business right here, and that's going to be it. You can't say, oh, well, why should I try? And they don't even want me to be a part of it. Okay, again, collectively, if we make this collective move, they can't keep saying, no. They can't keep saying, oh, you're not a part. Again, collectively, if everybody is moving in the same direction, there's very little that they can do to turn us the other way or scatter us, period. We can't build anything in this country if we're not together. We have to go with the laws, the guidelines, whatever you want to call them. There's no way around it, period. But again,
I'm not saying for us to go against those laws or those guidelines.
But you keep saying it's not for us.
Those legitimate business. Let me break it down to you. What I'm saying when I say let's do us, make our own, I'm not saying let's not go by the guidelines and the rules to do business. I'm not saying that at all. But what I am saying is, if we come together and stop focusing and spending our money with other with other people besides our own, then you get what I'm saying now? It's like, I'm not saying let's not, how should I put this? Not deal with the federal government at all, or deal with the states at all. I'm not saying that. But where we are now, start there. I mean, I can't tell you how many ghettos or small towns that I've gone through where the majority of the indigenous people there, they look freaking hopeless, man. They just walking around like damn space cadets. You know what I'm saying? And as
That
someone
starts with
that
them
that,
though.
that drives, part of my job of driving from place to place is I see this on a constant basis, and I'm like, there are so many things that can be done within our own communities, but again, because we feel like we can't do it, and again, that lack of will is there. Nothing's getting done. So whether we go with their system or if we continue on this path that we are now, which is still basically a part of their system, it's not working for us. So let's go in a different direction. That's what I'm saying.
Okay, but okay. So when you put it that way, you can't say it's not. This system is not for us because if you're going through these towns, in these cities, or whatever the case may be, and you see these and our people looking hopeless, and I can ride through Baltimore and I can ride through DC and wherever I go and see the same thing. It's not about the system ain't for us. It's about people have no desire to achieve. That's what it is. Because I can go through, I'll take me for example. I have a desire to achieve. I don't have 5, 10 people around me that have that same desire. I can go right around the corner from where I'm living right now, and I can see young dudes just not doing anything. And the first thing they say is the man is keeping me down, or the system ain't for me, or the system keeping me down. Okay, let's explore this conversation right quick. What have you been doing in the last 5, 10 years? Oh, well, I've been hustling and I've been doing. What is hustling doing? Because when you hustle, you catch a charge. When you catch a charge, you go to jail. How is that helping you? How is that the system's fault? Because there's plenty of jobs out there that you can physically do that you refuse to do. So when it comes to the system, it's not the system keeping you down, it's you keeping you down. Get you and your homeboys and get these jobs that a lot of black people say, oh, I'm not doing that. What do you mean you're not doing that? Every dollar that you make out there, you bring it back in here and then you build us up. It's not the system totally. Yes, we always have an uphill battle, but again, if collectively we stick together and go in the same direction, your argument has 100% facts in it. And what I'm saying has 100% facts in it because all those other groups, what are they doing? They're sticking together. They're participating in the system. They're moving in the same direction. A lot of those other groups don't have the nonsense that we have going on. Yes, there is crimes in every group, but when you look on Instagram, Facebook, the regular news, or whatever news that you're looking at, oh, this black guy got killed by this black guy, and it's like, for what? For what? Like all these rappers that got killed lately, for what? If you change your mentality, my man, and y'all not out there shooting each other, and y'all building together, and y'all building our communities, it's not the system's fault. It's the individuals in our community's fault. Because at the end of the day, hey, if you don't run around here sagging your pants, selling drugs, and shooting each other, and you're voting, and you're making a positive change in your little sector, your community, and you're bringing a lot of people with you, you can't say it's the system because it's the people. And people like, oh man, I'm not voting. Okay, why not? Oh, my vote don't count. Okay, well, if you vote, you vote, you vote, you vote, and we get something done on that level, that'll help us in our communities, it help us bring our communities up, then you can't use that same argument no more because if the people are motivated and collectively moving. Again, what's going to stop us if the people are participating? Period. At the end of the day, we can have all of that stuff.
I think with this conversation, I think we both have good points, great points actually.
Yeah.
I think that the one good thing about you and I is we are smart enough and intelligent enough to display verbally, give our opinions, and not take it personally.
Right.
Unfortunately, a lot of people can't do that.
Yeah, and to your point, that's another problem, because it's like me and you, we have our own thoughts on this, and we are kind of like on different spectrums, but we're saying the same thing. And
Right.
again, if you break it down to everybody in our culture, and if everybody could have this same conversation the same way, and hey, you may see it your way, I see it my way, but if we're all talking about the same thing and moving forward, again, we can't keep saying that the system ain't for us, because if you had you on the left of it, I'm on the right of it, but we all looking that way, you know what? We taking this to the top. Come on, man. We could do what the Italians are doing. We could do what the Hispanics, the Asians. We could do everything that they're doing, because they and the Jews. Come on now. If we get that same mindset, I promise you. Look what Tyler Perry doing.
Okay.
Imagine
right.
if we had more people doing what he's doing, and I'm sure he's voting. I'm sure he ain't sitting there saying, "Oh, my vote don't count." Oprah Winfrey, I know damn well she ain't saying my vote don't count. I know that. Jay-Z,
Okay.
I know damn well he ain't saying my vote don't count. So again, if we participate and they look at us and they be like, "Oh, they ain't playing," because right now they take us for a joke. They really take us for a joke, because every time you turn around, this rapper got killed because this, that, and other. And you look at the videos that be floating around of how that happened. It's like, and I'm sitting there like, but y'all hate white people. Y'all talking about the system keeping us down. Like, look what y'all doing. We don't need the system to keep us down, because we're keeping ourselves down. Period. That's how I look at it.
I'll put it to you like this, right? Here's the thing, right? I think we both agree on the point that if we stuck together collectively, whatever direction we decide to go in, we could really make an impact.
Yeah.
Now, whether that means continuing to vote in this system, we can make an impact. But if we went our own direction, work within the system, I'm not saying we got to conquer the system. I'm not even saying we got to beat the damn system. But what I am saying is, if we work within the system, but we worked with that collective mindset of saying that we don't always have to agree, but let's do our own thing, I think then we can make a bigger and better impact in our communities than what we are now.
And that right there, I have no qualms about that. And that's pretty much where my position is. We have to work within the system. We can't be like, "Oh, it ain't for us." No, we got to work within it in order to achieve, period. So, I mean, at the end of the day, we saying the same thing. We just coming from two different angles. That's it.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. But
Well, we want to thank everyone. Or did you have anything else you wanted to add there?
I guess for a couple minutes, take a couple minutes and jump on the results of the election.
All right, there
And
we
everything
go.
that came after that. Because, again, a lot of people say our votes don't count, but our votes definitely counted. And that joke up out of there. Done. The problem that I have, is all his little cronies are still pacifying his nonsense. But we showed up, we voted. A lot of people thought their votes didn't count. And I don't know how much of the news that you watch pertain to the election or whatever the case may be, but they say, hey, the black vote, especially the black women in the southern states and you know, and all over the place, a lot of Hispanics or whatever the case may be, the younger ones, because they voted, hey, this joker's up out of there. So I know my vote counted. I'm confident about that. So and then look. Here's my thing. Here's my last point.
All right, go ahead.
The black vote counted so much. Look what they tried to do in Philly. Look what they tried to do in Detroit. Look what they tried to do in Georgia. Look what they tried to do in Wisconsin. They tried to make the black vote not count. That's how much the black vote counted. That's how much.
All right. On that, I will make. Let me see. Three points. I know I'm not gonna go too deep with it. You know, I'll keep it on the surface here. One, I honestly thought Trump was gonna win this thing hands down. Not that I would have voted for him, but I honestly thought he was gonna run away with that shit. Because the thing is about it is, again, in my line of work, I travel all over doing, you know, what I need to do. And I saw a hell of a lot more Trump flags and people out, you know, side the road with tents and Trump memorabilia and just Trump. A hell of a lot more than I saw for Joe Biden. And I'll just be real with you about that. Number two, do I think Biden honestly won that thing? I don't know, because there's so much as far as like the votes that, again, that were blocked, but the votes that weren't counted. You get what I'm saying? So I can't honestly say I think he won it. You know, the results say he won it, but with those type of factors in there, I really can't say it's an honest win. You know, this is a W, you know, clearly. My third thing is, now that Biden is in there, as far as we know, again, what is he going to do for us? That's all I got to say.
Well, I'm going to respond to your three things, and then we can just, you know, at first I thought that joke was going to win too. I was like, come on, man. Like, yo, like, come on, yo. But, you know, as things start to change, I was like, nah, he done. With the uncounted votes, there's uncounted votes on both sides. And I'm pretty sure there's still some votes out there that didn't get counted because whether they didn't make the deadline or whatever the case may be. But if we look at the votes that were counted, Biden got it. The votes that were counted, whether, you know, regardless of anything else, he won by a good margin. And what is he going to do in there if he does anything? Again, we need to hold our elected officials accountable. And that's not saying just hold Biden accountable. You need to hold your county representative, your state representative, your governor, you know, judges, all the way up there. If we hold all of them accountable, then he has no choice but to do the right thing. I think by default, he may do the right thing because there's so much pressure and we got Kamala Harris as his vice president. I think by default, he will. But at the end of the day, we need to hold all our elected officials accountable. to do the right thing. And I think if that happens, it'll be easier moving forward for people to do the right thing. And that's all I got to say on that.
Well, I could rebuttal, but I'm not. I'm gonna let this one ride. I'm just gonna sit back again and see what he does. You know, I'm the type that I believe that you can't judge a book by its cover. You gotta, really get into it and see what it's about, and read line for line and in between the lines.
Right.
And I think this whole situation with Biden, do I think he's gonna do anything for us? No, I don't. I'll be honest with you. I think, again, he said what he needed to say to get into position he needed to get into, and that's like every other damn politician that has come before him. We could say yes, we need to vote on our locals, and you may be right there. You may be right there. I'll give you that one. But again, the overall system of voting, I hold my vote.
Hey,
I keep holding that. And I'm probably gonna keep holding that until my eyes close for the last time. But again, that's just my personal preference. I encourage anyone and everyone who feels like they want to vote or they want to participate in the voting process. More power to you. If you need a ride to get to the voting booth, holler at your boy. I drop you off, give me a call, I come pick you up. I drop you at home. I got you. But that's all I gotta say about it, my brother. I'll leave it on that.
and there you have it. We wrapping up this first episode of the King and I podcast, life podcast. And we look forward to jumping into more dialogue about various topics. And I think we'll hit on this political thing somewhere else down the line. But Soul Touch the Poet here. We have my man, Sun Solex. And we're going to wrap this one up. And we'll talk to y'all later.
All right. Thanks for everyone who's tuning in to listen. And we look forward to bringing you more relevant content. Peace be with you.
Peace out.